Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to be talking about Modern Warfare. I know a lot of people have been covering it, and some things have changed since the trailer reveal. So I did do a trailer reveal, well, not trailer reveal, but I did do my opinions on the trailer. I have that up on the channel from a couple days ago, and I was just sort of talking about just watching the trailer, just talking about some things that I saw in there that I thought were cool, some things I was looking forward to. Some of the just overall stuff around the trailer, and then also the second half I kind of went to the point where I said hey, let's temper our expectations here, because I don't know about you guys, but I've been let down year after year by Call of Duty for many years now, and not let down in the sense of it's a really horrible product or something, just let down in the sense that there's been really no innovation, and they really have only focused on monetization. And I mean, in some ways you can't blame them, Activision, because they're a company and they're a public company, so that's all they care about is their shareholders and, all that kind of stuff, and their profits and the revenue. So I guess in some way you can't blame them, but, this is an issue that I said years ago was going to be a problem because of the fact that big money, like Hollywood movie type money, has now been brought into video games by these big studios and these big budgets, and that's really all they care about, is getting a return on that budget. So they're not willing to give someone creative license to take a risk and do something big and bold unless they think that they have to, kind of thing. So anyway, today we're just going to be talking about what's been confirmed. I'm just going to go quickly over the things that we know for sure about the game, because there's been so much misinformation and so much contradiction out there from many YouTubers. I've watched several videos from several different YouTubers. Dalek JD. I watched one from Hutch, who I think used to be an Optic, who I've never watched a video of his before. Dalek, I'm really familiar with. I watched some Drifter, which I'm not familiar with. I've only seen one or two of his videos in the past. And then I also watched Digital Foundry, who I'm also very familiar with, and have watched a lot of their stuff. And so as I'm doing this, I'm sort of, piecing together my own ideas of how they're telling the story and what's really true and what's not. And what I'm realizing is there's a lot of conflicting information. And so we'll go over that. But just really quickly before we do that, I want to just confirm everything that we know so far. In first take of this video, of this voiceover, I took way too long explaining this, and then I couldn't finish the video. So I'm just going to go quickly through what we know has been confirmed. So it's called Modern Warfare. So it is Infinity Ward describes it as a reimagining of the Modern Warfare series. So a lot of people have been saying reboot, and I guess that sort of fits here. I don't really like that term because it makes it sound like they totally overhauled everything, and I'm not really 100% sure they did that, but Infinity Ward describes it as a reimagining. So it is not in the same universe as the previous Modern Warfare games. So it comes out October 25th, which is an interesting date, but it comes out October 25th. It is made by Infinity Ward, who made the original Modern Warfares, and they made the, like Call of Duty 2 and all that kind of stuff. They were, they're sort of the name that people know for that. So there were a lot of different YouTubers that were invited out to Infinity Ward's studio in Los Angeles area, and they got to get some exclusive information. They got to play the game. They got to be briefed on a lot of different things going on in the game, and they had, sort of a bunch of little presentations about what was going on with the game, which is part of what's going on with the conflicting information, and I'll touch on that in a few minutes. So it is based on, at the very least, a new-ish engine variant. So it is the same engine. Contrary to what a lot of people are saying, it is not a completely new engine. It's just not. You can look to Digital Foundry for that, to confirm that. They are an extremely reputable channel. I almost said company. They're basically journalistic and very scientific in their methods and their approach to testing things and sort of verifying things that people tell them and all that kind of stuff. And they said that it is a new variant of the engine they've been using. It's a drastic improvement on the engine they've been using, but it is not a completely new engine. It is not. And that's something that I said in my video the other day, that I didn't believe what I had heard when people said it was a new engine, that I said I did not believe that, because they have lied to us in the past about that. They have said it's an all-new engine, or this year is going to be a new engine, and it's just not. They just, I don't know why they think they can get away with lying about something like that. There are channels like Digital Foundry, and that's why they're such a great channel. If you guys do not know about them, they're a phenomenal channel. pretty technical and a lot more scientific and a lot more clinical in their approach to stuff. They're not going to necessarily... I mean, they do give their opinion, but they're very journalistic in the way they present their information. It's very, like, matter of fact. It's very unbiased. And then they sort of give their opinion after that. And it's just... I mean, I don't know why they think that they can get away with that. And I think it's probably because of what I'll talk about later also. A lot of the YouTubers who they invite and a lot of people who are influencers are not that way. They're not scientific. They're not methodical. You know, they're just sort of like... it's basically free hype for them. Like, think about the deal for Infinity Ward. They just buy... You know, I don't know how many it was, 10 or 12 YouTubers probably. They just pay for a trip for them out to Los Angeles. Can't be more than, you know, maybe 50 grand at the most to fly all them out there, put them up for a night or whatever, and present to them. I mean, I can't even imagine it's that much, but, that's, you know, they spend that, and then they just get all this free hype advertising. You know, there are YouTubers who have probably already made 50 grand off of the views they've gotten off of the videos. So it's just like a crazy cheap marketing thing for Infinity Ward to do. So maybe that's why they think they can get away with this kind of stuff, but we'll come back to that in a minute. So it's basically confirmed there's going to be a single-player campaign. Most of the people who have who went out to Infinity Ward said that they did get to play part of the campaign and see part of the campaign. So it's basically confirmed, although I don't think they have explicitly confirmed it, but there is going to be a single-player campaign. I mean, I'm almost certain it's going to have a multiplayer. They haven't really talked about that. We haven't seen or heard anything about that yet, but I can't imagine there's not. That's, you know, it's not Call of Duty without that.
Enemy down.
Third game mode has not been confirmed. They haven't spoken about the third game mode. The only thing we do know is that they did explicitly say it was not going to be a zombies game. The zombies mode, the guy from Infinity Ward, I can't remember his name, and he did an interview with like one of the PlayStation outlets, and he said, you know, with the amount of realism we're searching for in this game and the amount that we're trying to make it seem realistic and like it's actually something that could happen in today's world, it doesn't really give us the creativity or flexibility to put in zombies in the game, because that just makes it seem less real, and it just didn't feel right to them, so they did not include them in the game. So we don't know what that third mode is going to be. You know, they had special ops in the other Modern Warfare, so maybe it'll be some sort of co-op, you know, something like that, but that's just speculation at this point. So they haven't spoken on the third mode. So it is said, and I am going to be very, very particular about using those words, it has been said, and they are saying, meaning Infinity Ward are saying, that it's going to be cross-play enabled. This is really the one point of contention that I still have with the game. I don't know, guys. I really don't see that that's going to happen. I know they're saying it's going to happen, and I would hate to believe they would say that and not do it. I just don't know. I really have a hard time accepting that. I really do. For a lot of reasons, and we can talk about that in a few minutes, but I just have a hard time believing that. It does still have PlayStation exclusivity, so a lot of people have been saying, incorrectly, that that's not the case anymore, and that everybody's going to be getting everything at the same time now and all this kind of stuff. That is not true. It is still... There's still a deal with PlayStation and with Sony to give exclusivity, time exclusivity to the deal. So they are still going to get the map packs and all that kind of stuff 7 days earlier than the rest of the platforms. It is still going to be a thing. So do not believe it when they say that's going away. That's false. It's not going away. In fact, if you watch the trailer now, it still says play first on the PS4. So it's still happening. And then there's multiple different variations of the pre-orders. So you can pre-order through GameStop. There's a couple different orders through them. I'm sure there's a couple different digital versions. You know, deluxe, standard deluxe, super ultra deluxe, extra delicious deluxe with, you know, 42,000 COD points for $155. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So that's all we've confirmed so far. So I'm going to go back through that list, and then I'm going to touch on the rumor part of it, which is what we're hearing and, you know, what a lot of people are saying. So what I'll say is that through watching multiple channels and multiple guys and multiple videos from multiple guys, I'm stitching together my own narrative about what this is. And guys, I can also say, just as something unrelated to the video, that is such a crucial part of life itself. Don't just believe don't believe something that you hear from one person from one source. You have to hear multiple angles of it. You have to hear multiple, you know, I don't know. You have to hear something multiple times, and you have to stitch it together. If you hear something and you think it's a rumor, you can't just spit it back out and say this is happening. You have to stitch together your own thing, because everybody has their own different perspective, and especially in this case, the variance between what the YouTubers are saying is pretty wide, and we'll get into that later, but it just is. It's very wide. So
knocking arrow.
These are not just like I watched one video and I heard one thing and I'm reporting it to you. What I'm saying is I've watched a lot of the videos out there from a lot of different channels, and I'm bringing you things that I've heard and things that I've seen that seem likely. So I watched a video from Hutch, who I believe is in Optic. I used to watch some of their content a little bit a year or two ago, 3 years ago, but I haven't watched anything since. I've never watched anything from him, and he discussed the game in depth on his 30-minute sort of, talk about it. And he talked about some of the single-player missions. I got a little bored, honestly, hearing about those, because he was like explaining it in such detail, which is cool, but I didn't really care that much about that. I do like the single-player, and I will play it. That was always my thing. I used to get the game day one. I'd play the first mission of the campaign, which gives you the overall tone of the game, and then I'd go play multiplayer and go back to the campaign months later when I was bored of the multiplayer or just wanted the achievements. So he talked about that, and lots of different ones have talked about different stuff. So it's a new engine variant. A lot of people are saying, I've heard multiple channels say it's a new engine or it's a brand new engine. That's just not true. Digital Foundry, who I'm extremely trustworthy, and I trust them very much, and they've grown very fast, and you don't get a channel that grows that fast without providing unbiased scientific information that people can actually use, as opposed to just spouting off the hip like a National Enquirer, which here in the U.S. is like just an absolute joke of a newspaper. It's on the thing at every grocery store, and you're like, oh man, what happened? Tom Cruise died in a plane crash, and it's just fake. It's literally, actually, literally, no memeing here. It's actually literally fake news that they put up there, and people believe it, and people buy it and stuff. So, real journalism, real integrity of journalism, and providing unbiased information is very hard to come by, and especially in this world of YouTube, I feel like a lot of the YouTubers that are out there don't understand that. They don't respect the real power they have to influence. And this is why Infinity Ward does this. They pay whatever it is, some, 25, 30, 40 grand or whatever to fly all these YouTubers out there and put them up for a night and show them all this cool stuff. And then they just go out and they're anticipating this. And the amount of hype that's been generated is basically superhuman. It's unreal and almost unbelievable, the amount of hype that's been generated around this game. And Infinity Ward did it for very cheaply. And Activision did it very cheaply. 50 grand. Destiny cost $50 million to market Destiny, which was the same as the cost of the game itself. $50 million. And Activision, for 50 grand or less, just did more and got more hype around Modern Warfare than there ever was around Destiny. And so, I mean, it's incredible. So, it's not a new engine. It is a new-ish engine. It's just an upgraded version of what they've been using already. So, I mean, the crossplay thing, guys, I don't know about this crossplay thing. I'm still hung up on that. It's one of the few things keeping me from going full steam ahead on the hype train is just this crossplay thing. I really don't know. I mean, logistically, it could work. It's technologically possible. It's been possible for years, but there's no reason why Sony would do that. There's just none. The only thing I can think is that maybe they leveraged their exclusive deal with Sony against it. And they said, look, we're not going to give you this exclusive deal unless you do this crossplay thing. And then we'll give it to you 7 days early. That's really the only leverage they would have to force Sony to do that, because the player base doesn't matter. The amount of people who play on PlayStation Network and Xbox Live, that's how they make their money. They don't make money on hardware sales. They don't make money on game sales, really. It's mainly on the subscribers that are on their platform. So I don't see any benefit for PlayStation for doing that. For Xbox, the benefit is, there are going to be some people who won't abandon and go to PlayStation, and because they can still play with their friends. But there's whole other things, like there's, obviously party chat's not going to work between consoles. I mean, there's just a lot of different things, and so I'm not really unsure about this crossplay thing. It just seems not right to me. It really doesn't. I don't know, man. Not to mention with the exclusive deal, they're still going to get content 7 days early, so even if it is crossplay enabled, then what? For the first 7 days that any DLC is out, and if they continue the DLC like they did here and they leak it, they dribble it out like every 6 or 8 weeks, then every 6 or 8 weeks you're not going to be able to play with your friends for a week, because on the other console because they'll have an exclusive deal and they'll have new maps that you don't have and stuff. So, I don't know, man. I mean, if there is a game that could do the crossplay, if there is a game that could leverage their massive impact and could leverage and really force Sony to let them do this, it is Call of Duty. They are the #1 selling game every year, and they do have the power and the resources to force Sony to do that. So, if it is going to be something, it is going to be Call of Duty. Mouse versus controller. They're saying that, again, this is rumor. I've heard this, that it could be a similar type matchmaking to like I guess Fortnite does it this way, where if you're on a mouse and a keyboard, it sort of prioritizes matching you with people on mouse and keyboard before controllers. And so then that says to me, like, then there's no benefit. Like, people are getting excited, like, oh, there's going to be a PC community again, all this kind of stuff. Well, if you're only matching people with mouse and keyboard with other people with mouse and keyboard, then where's the benefit of having a mouse and keyboard? There's no benefit of being cross-gen or cross-platform if it's just the same crap as the PC. If you're basically only playing against other mouse and keyboard players, it's kind of unreal. So again, that's just one of the issues that's making me go like, why? I don't. There's something more to the story. That's all I'll say. I'll say that because I'm almost certain of that. There's something more to the story. It's not just like this big deal everyone's making it out to be. There's just so many conflicting reports, guys. So many conflicting reports. So, Infinity Ward really has done an incredible job, a generational job in creating hype for this game. The amount of hype around this game is the most hype I've seen around a game in several years. Really, I mean, it just is like just every channel, dude. All the people are talking about it, including channels that aren't traditionally Call of Duty and their tech channels. They're all talking about it. Like, this is going to be like the second coming of Call of Duty, according to everybody. It's almost unbelievable hype. It really is. It really is. I mean, generational job because they did it for 1/100th of, you know, or 1/1000th of what Destiny did it for. But they're, you know, the amount of money in this is insane. So the YouTubers that went out there, I've seen such varying reports. Some of the YouTubers, including Hutch, who was looking at his stuff, said he didn't even take any notes. He just kind of went and watched it, and then he's reporting on stuff. So it's like, some of these guys didn't even take notes. Some of these, this is why my problem is, like, this is not traditional journalism. And I know that YouTube is not journalism, but in a way it is now. And the way they use YouTubers, the way companies and products use YouTubers to promote products is almost criminal because they're not journalists. They don't know these type of things. They don't go there and take detailed notes and record everything so that they can be extremely accurate in the information. They just say things that they want to of their opinion and just make it that way. And that is a serious problem. It's not just for gaming, but it's for everything. Products, cell phones, you know, like, you know, Unbox Therapy, that kind of stuff. Like, nothing against him. He seems like a good dude and seems like a good critical channel, but, like, these guys aren't being hypercritical like they should be in order to really give you an idea. They don't really fully understand the reach of their influence, and it's kind of crazy. So it's just important that if you're watching these things that you watch multiple of them and you stitch together your own story of what makes sense. It's just like if you wanted to hear what happened, if two dudes got in a fight and you wanted to hear what happened, you wouldn't just ask one of them and then that's it. You'd ask like 10 or 12 people and sort of figure out what everybody's commonly reporting or saying, and that just sort of means that that's what's kind of accurate in most cases. So, I don't know. It's just like people have this incredible influence. These people who have millions of subscribers or even thousands of subscribers. It's an incredible responsibility to reach that many people and to influence that many people. It's an incredible responsibility, and I think some of these guys don't take it as seriously as they should. I mean, some of these channels, guys, are saying that because they're doing away with the, quote, traditional season pass, some of these guys are saying that all content is going to be free and they're not going to charge for DLC anymore. I mean, that is so not happening. That is absolutely not happening. I think what has to happen is, I think Infinity Ward has to come out, and they have to come out soon, and it has to be official, because there's a lot of conflicting information, and people have a lot of questions, and at this point, if Infinity Ward does not come out and do something, this could be a cataclysmic event that could absolutely kill Call of Duty forever. The expectations for this game are monumentally sky high, and what I'm looking for is Infinity Ward to come out and set the record straight. I'm actually so hyped for this game. I'm so excited, but I think the problem now is that all these expectations are now hyper-inflated because of all the misinformation, all the contradictions, all the rumors, and everything. I mean, people think we're going to get all free maps and all free DLC. I mean, this is setting up to be a major disappointment, not because it's not going to be an epic game, but because these expectations have spiraled completely out of control. So I'm really looking for Infinity Ward to take charge and really set the record straight. So thank you guys for checking this out. I'll see you in the next one.